What's up, Internet? I'm the Big Boss Dog, and today I want to talk to you about a very important issue America's 2020 election. See, a lot of people think that we're stuck between the options of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but that's simply not the case. We have been presented with an amazing opportunity to have a third party candidate actually take a state for once, and his name is Kanye West. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Kanye West is absolutely crazy. He's insane. He's out of this world. And you know what? You might be right, but I think that's exactly what America needs. See, America has been caught in the false dichotomy of bipartisan politics, and it's tearing our country apart. People are angrier at each other than they've ever been in years and years and years. We're experiencing rioting, looting, civil unrest. A lot of people are unhappy with the way the government are handling things, from the way they talk about guns to the way they talk about racial inequality. There's a lot of stuff going on. And see, I think part of the problem is people think that we're forced between a Republican president or a Democratic president, and that's simply not the case. The only reason why we think that way is because we're only presented with those two options. Those are the two people that control the government and throw the most money. They throw whatever they can at a wall and see what sticks. See, people think America is all great and fine and dandy because we can elect whoever our chief is. But is it really much of a choice if we're always picking between two groups and two people? There's over 100 million eligible Americans that can become president every 4 years. It's not just between two people. Now, I think a reason a lot of Americans think this way is because the general stereotype is if you vote for a third party, you're throwing your vote away. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. If we all voted for one third party candidate, it would blow everybody else out of the water. Now, the problem is we have to decide on a third party candidate to vote for, right? But nobody really has come through with enough firepower to get enough votes and enough traction to really make some noise. I think Kanye West is the perfect person because he has a very niche cult following. He has a group of stans. And if enough of these people show up and actually vote for him, whether or not Kanye gets to be president is irrelevant. If he can take one state, if Kanye West gets on the board with any electoral votes, it'll be the spark. It'll be the spark of the idea that our false dichotomy of American politics doesn't have to be the way that it is. Even if he just took 1/3 of Maine, if he takes the smallest state, if he takes one electoral vote, if he takes a swing state, that's all it would take for people to wake up and realize that it's possible. Now, I understand a lot of people think that this is the most important election in American history. This is the one that changes it all. We can't throw away our vote on Kanye West. But that's the exact kind of mentality that keeps third-party candidates down. Kanye West can very well pave the way for a reasonable third-party candidate to actually win the election later down the line. And this isn't the most important election in American history. It's not. Everybody thinks it is, right? The Republicans think, oh man, if Joe Biden gets into office, oh, he's going to take away our guns. It's going to be so scary. And the liberals and the Democrats, they think, oh man, if Donald Trump gets reelected, say goodbye to gay marriage. Say goodbye to all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, nothing's going to happen. Okay? When two groups or organizations are in a beef with each other, the people that benefit are the two organizations, right? When two rappers have a beef going on, the people that benefit are the two rappers and whoever their labels are, right? You want to hear what Pusha T said about Drake, so you listen to his album. You want to hear what Drake said in response, so you listen to his album. Their labels get paid, they get more money, they get circulation and clicks. That's how it works. If you don't think Republicans and Democrats are doing the exact same thing, but on a much, much larger scale, you're insane. Massive change isn't going to come from either Joe Biden or Donald Trump, especially when you consider how much Trump has actually done with a majority in the House of Republicans, right? And he just filled a Supreme Court seat with Amy Barrett. So even if Joe Biden does get election, even if Joe Biden does win the election, there's not a whole lot he's going to be able to do. And if Trump wins the election, he already doesn't do a whole lot. He already didn't do half of the things that liberals and Democrats are worried he's going to do. Not to mention, when a certain political candidate gets reelected, their opponents are more likely to win. George Bush won twice in a row, he was a Republican, then Obama won. Obama won twice in a row, he was a Democrat, then Trump won. So if Trump wins twice in a row, that just means there's going to be a Democrat next. So we really can't afford to panic and lie to ourselves that this is the most important election of our time. It's not. I remember Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump was the most important election of our life, and it really wasn't. They make you feel that way, they make it seem that way, so they get more voters and more voter turnout so those groups can remain in power, but it's not that important. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say the leader of one of the biggest superpowers in the world isn't important. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the idea that it's the most important one in the world and your life is at risk and your way of life and your way of thinking, that's fear-mongering, and you can't buy into it. The only solution, the long-term solution for the 2020 election is to vote for Kanye West. He's the only third-party candidate right now, in my opinion, that has enough firepower to take at least one state. And if he can take at least one state, we can prove to everybody that it's possible for a third-party candidate to be elected. Because I love America. I love the freedom it provides. Right? I love the concept of not having a monarchy, of not having a king. That's our whole purpose for being a country. That's why we were founded. But what's the difference between not having a king and voting for somebody if the two different groups are in control of every election? That sounds like fake freedom to me. It doesn't make sense. We have the illusion of choice if our choice is only two. You know what the requirements are to be a U.S. president? You have to be born in the United States, and you have to be over the age of 35. That's it. You're telling me out of 334 million Americans, only 2 of them are over the age of 35 and are born in America? Come on. It's simply not the case. It's not the case. It's a lie. And that's how those two groups have stayed in power this long. So, when the 2020 election comes around, if you are eligible to vote, vote for Kanye West. Alright, if you're not eligible to vote, if you are under 18, alright, campaign for Kanye West. Make Kanye West take at least one state, because if he does, I promise you, America will be better for it down the road. 100%. And I want you all to know, this video was done in one take. It's completely off the top. This is truly how I feel. You need to vote for Kanye West in 2020 election. You don't have to do it for me. You don't have to do it for Kanye. You have to do it for America, because that is the beginning. That is the beginning of the end of this false political parties that we've got caught in. And I'm not the only person that thinks this way. George Washington, one of the founding fathers of our country, believes that political parties, he believed political parties would destroy our nation. Abraham Lincoln said that a house divided cannot stand. And how are we supposed to stand? How are we supposed to not be divided when the Republicans, the Grand Old Party, and the Democrats are trying to divide us in two? They're picking on human nature. Humans are naturally binary. It's either us or them. It's either male or female. You know, it's either good or bad. It's evil or it's right. And the Republicans want you to think Democrats are evil, and the Democrats want you to think Republicans are evil, and that's how they tear us down. That's how they keep us separated. They separated us into haves and have-nots, and I don't believe in that. And the only way to take that down, as of right now in this moment of history, is to vote for Kanye West. And if you weren't gonna vote anyways, vote for Kanye West. No harm in it, right? If you weren't gonna vote, your vote wouldn't have changed the outcome anyway. So vote for Kanye West. In fact, I would bet dollars to donuts after this election, if every eligible voter that didn't vote would have voted for Kanye, he would have won the election. So anyways, those are just my thoughts. This is why you should vote for Kanye West 2020. Thank you all for listening to this little impromptu speech, this little rant, okay? And for the record, his best album is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. All right, I don't care what anybody else has to say. Yes, 808s and Heartbreaks, was revolutionary. All right, it paved the way for modern music today. That's all fine and dandy. All right, Late Registration, College Dropout has some better bars. It's a little bit more Kanye-esque, but I'm telling you, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is where it's at. Vote for Kanye West 2020. Thank you so much.